what's going on YouTube? We're here with another Smite build video. I'm your host Shui, and let's go ahead and dive right into it. As you can see on screen, we are here with Muzen, god of the bees, the bee lord himself. He is a monster in duo lane, and he is a force to be reckoned with, impossible solo laner. But he is really good, guys. He is a completely different playstyle if you play Artemis or the normal type of hunter. He is not just speed attack, fire for kills. He is a lot more strategic placement with combos and then chase up on your kill. And he's actually very good if you can get these combos down and land what you need to land. Now we're actually going to jump right into the abilities of this man. We're going to start with his passive. And its enemies afflicted by bees take damage every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds and are revealed on the minimap. The bees will also attack any nearby enemies that aren't already affected by bees, continuing to spread to nearby enemies over time. Basic attacks from Muzen refresh and increase the duration up to 4 seconds, and any target afflicted for 4 seconds is disarmed for 1 second. Now the disarm is actually new. They actually added that in with a recent update. It used to just be the ticks, and then when you do damage, it adds more duration to the tick. And it's a pretty strong passive, guys. It's really strong. Don't underestimate the bees. Excuse me. Hive. Bees swarm at the ground target location, creating a new hive that provides movement and attack speed buffs to Muzen. He also heals for a small amount every second while he remains close to the hives. The hives can only be destroyed by basic attacks, and you can have 6 hives up at one time. Now, the stats on this are pretty decent. 12 healing per second, 30% movement speed, 50% attack speed. Now, these are pretty much going to be your beacons, guys. You're going to want to make sure you have these up pretty much at every jungle entrance in your lane. And you also might want to throw like 1 or 2 scattered throughout your jungle if you need to get away, gank, or to like kind of prevent ganks if you're trying to run away or something like that. And also, the ability coming up, Honey, is only triggered with the... I mean, you can use it as a slow, but it actually does damage if it's near a hive. You'll actually see a giant AoE yellow circle around the hives, letting you know where the infestation will start, and whether or not if you hit it with the honey, it'll be infested or not. Now, we're going to jump to the next one, which is Swarm. This is your main damaging ability. And its Muzen summons a large swarm of bees that fly forward in a path in front of him, dealing damage to all enemies hit and applying bees to them. Got a range of 70. Caps at 280 plus 80% of your physical power. Not too bad on the stat wise, but pretty much this thing takes up about 1/3 of the lane when you shoot this thing. The distance on it is pretty solid, and the damage on it is pretty solid. So it's really good all around, very well-rounded move, and it's probably going to be your main damaging move. Now we're going to go to the one that we were talking about earlier, Honey. Muzen sprays honey at a movable ground target location, slowing all enemies in the area. Bees from hives within 55 feet and swarm will fly over to protect the honey, dealing damage every 0.5 seconds and applying bees to all enemies as they leave the honey. It does 60 per tick plus 15% of your physical power, and it has a 25% slow. So it's a really good move. It's a good combat trick, and it actually helps a lot with wave clear as well. When you have a higher level, you can just stream it down the minion wave, and it'll pretty much help clear them out pretty much by yourself when you get a max level. And it's really good. And also, I was mistaken actually. You can actually trigger the infestation on the honey with your swarm move. I didn't know that actually. So you learn something new every day. You're gonna go down to his super, which Muzen fires off an enormous stinger that deals damage to all enemies in a line, sticking into the first god that is hit, applying bees and crippling them for 3 seconds. If the target dies or after 3 seconds, if he dies or 3 seconds after you hit them, the stinger falls on the ground for 4 seconds. If Muzen picks up his stinger, he gains a significant reduction to stinger's cooldown. Has a 70 meter radius with 595 plus 110% of your physical power, and retrieval cooldown reduction is 80%. I believe is when you fire it, you then pick it up, it reduces it to a 20-second cooldown with the 3 seconds taken off. So it's actually about a 17-second cooldown when you pick it up. Really strong, really powerful. You can just multi-sting people in team fights as long as you can stall out long enough for those 17 seconds to tick by. But usually in large team fights, you'll be there for a while. So it's actually really good. You'll probably be able to sting maybe 2 or 3 people. Really good. So we're actually going to go to the ability build right quick and get exactly what we need. I would first level up your swarm, and then your hive, then your honey, and then your swarm, stinger, swarm, hive, stinger, swarm, hive, stinger, hive, honey, honey, stinger, honey, honey, stinger. That easy, that fast, guys. It's that simple. You just want to get one of everything because you're going to be comboing out a lot. Now, your combos are mainly going to be hive, honey, swarm. That's what you're going to be. You're going to be, well, I mean, you don't always have to throw up a hive, as obviously if you have one right next to you, but it's pretty much going to be honey, swarm, and then honey, swarm, stinger if you have the availability to your stinger, and if they're in the range. Mainly because the honey will slow, swarm will hit, and it'll be the tick will stack onto it, and then you just auto attack them until they're dead. And it's really helpful, and it's really, really, really effective, especially in duo lane. Now we're going to hop into the ability, or the item builder, excuse me. And the item build one, this one is a little bit different than what I do for a lot of hunters. It's actually quite different. And mainly being is because he's a completely different playstyle. He fits more with Cupid than Shibalanke than he actually fits with like Apollo and Artemis. And we're gonna talk about that here in a second, mainly because your abilities are your main thing that does damage. Your auto attacks are really strong late game, but they're not really the powerhouse that they are with like Apollo and Artemis at the beginning of the game. So it's kind of like Cupid, where your abilities are too strong not to use early game, so you need a lot of mana. And that is where your starter item of the Bluestone Pendant comes in. It got a nerf recently, but mainly the nerf made it to where it doesn't last past about 15 minutes into the game. But all the way up to about 10 minutes, 13 minutes, it's still really, really strong starter item, and it's really, really good. It gives you 10 physical power, 90 health, 5 MP5, and restores 1.5% of your missing mana every 5 seconds. Pretty self-explanatory. You're going to have mana for days. As long as you're staying in lane and you have pots and you do what you need to do, you're going to be just pretty much staying in lane forever and just bugging the crap out of everybody. Now, this is where it starts off a little differently. I actually start the beginners of the dev gloves. And I buy the spiked gauntlet, which gives you 7% physical lifesteal. So that way, usually I buy Death's Toll, but if you have this, it takes a little bit away from the Death's Toll, or the lack of the Death's Toll, and it makes it a little easier for you to get health back. And we actually buy 1 health pot. Now we're going to go to the core, and the first item you're actually going to build, obviously by the start of this, you're going to start with Devourer's Gauntlet. Gives you 25 physical power, 10% physical lifesteal. You permanently gain 0.4 physical power and 0.20% physical lifesteal per stack, and receive 5 stacks for a god, 1 for a min, and caps at 75 stacks. Pretty self-explanatory. If you've seen my other hunter videos, you already know that these gloves are pretty much monstrous on the right hunters. And then the next thing is going to be your movement. You're going to go to boots. You always want to buy boots second or first. And we're going to go with Ninja Tabby, physical power, attack speed, movement speed, self-explanatory. And then we're going to go to the next one, which is going to be the Hastened Fatalist, which is right here. Gives you 30% attack speed, 10% movement speed. When a basic attack hits a target, the attacking movement speed debuff is removed from you for 1 second. Pretty much when you land a basic attack, you don't get that debuff, but when you're shooting, you can tell that you substantially slow down. So this takes that off for 1 second, so as long as you continuously hit basic attacks, you're not going to slow down. And with Muzen not having a dash or a dodge, this is actually really useful, due to the fact that you can actually close that gap on kills by just landing basic attacks on minions on train, or you can actually land it on them themselves and just close the gap like that. And it's really useful, and especially on a god that doesn't have any way to really clear the gap except for a slow with the honey. And then also you have your movement speed buff of your hives, but the Fatalist will definitely make it to where you can close those kills rather quickly. Now we're going to go to damage, and on this damage we're going to go with Rage to begin. You got 30 physical power and 30% critical strike chance. If your basic attacks does not critically strike, or critical strike chance is increased by 10%, caps at 5 stacks, and resets on a successful critical strike. Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty much just helps filter out your strikes to be crits, and it's really, really helpful. And you already know what's coming next, Deathbringer, which pretty much just gives you more of a crit severity with 50 physical power, 20% critical strike chance, and critical strike damage is increased by 50%. And pretty self-explanatory, you're just going to hit like a truck. Last is we actually want to grab Titan's Bane, which 30 physical power, and all your physical attacks gain 33% physical penetration. So pretty much all your basic attacks are going to be hitting and just shredding through whatever support. If you're still in ADC lane by the time you get to your final build piece, which I doubt you will be, but in team fights you'll be able to target down the hive, you'll be able to target down anything like that. You'll be able to target down the tank, you'll be able to target down the maybe solo laner, and just be able to completely shred away any health that they have, and they can do nothing about it. And I'll actually throw up some alternatives. There's actually one that I like to do. You've probably seen it on my channel a couple times, which is Ansil, which gains you 20 physical power, 50 magical protection, 8% cooldown reduction, and you permanently gain 0.5 physical power and 0.2% cooldown reduction per stack. 5 for a god kill, 1 for a min kill, caps at 60. So it's pretty self-explanatory in this one as well. Just gives you cooldown reduction and also gives you physical power. So you hit harder and hit harder faster with your abilities. And you also get a little bit of magical protection. I would use this pretty much mainly if you're going against a lot of mages, or if you're going against a lot of, I believe, guardians use magical as well. So yeah, if you have a lot of tanks that hit kind of hard, like so if you're going against a Sylvanas or a Ymir, I would definitely recommend grabbing Ensil. There's one more piece that I would actually recommend grabbing depending on how everything is going, and that is actually going to be Quinn Size. Quinn Size is on basic attack. Hits deal physical damage equal to 4% of target's maximum health. This only affects gods. It gives you 30 physical power and 15% attack speed. Take off Titan's Bane if you're going against gods that don't build strictly bulk, such as like Bellona, Freya, stuff like that. Stuff that hits hard, but they just have a decent amount of health and lifesteal. So that way that this takes away from their target's maximum health. Not the health they have, their maximum health. So if you just smack them repeatedly with basic attacks, it just keeps shredding that 4% all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Not the health they have, their maximum health. So no matter what or how low they are, it's always going to hit 4%. If they only have 4% left, you're going to one-shot them. It's really good, really strong. And that's pretty much it. These are going to be our rotators, so I'm not actually going to equip them for the stats overview. But we're going to equip these for our stats overview. Now, our basic attack does 237. We have 155 physical power. We have 1.7 attack speed, which is pretty solid for Muzen because he actually comes stock with a lot of attack speed. We have 10 lifesteal, which will stack up when you get those 75 stacks on Dev Gloves. We have 0 pen, but all your basic attacks get 33% if you're using Titan's Bane. We have 50 critical chance, which means 1 out of every 2 hits is going to be a crit. 72 physical, 48 magical, 1910 health with 21 HP 5. 465 movement speed, 0 cooldown reduction, but if you build and seal, it will change that out drastically. You got 1030 mana and 12 MP5. Now that's pretty much it for me, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I hope this did help you learn a little bit more about Muzen and how you could use him. Make sure you smash out that like button for me. It really does help me see that you guys do enjoy these videos and they are helping you. Go ahead and comment down below if you have any questions about the build or any gods in the future you would like to see me build. I'd be more than happy to do so. Muzen was actually a requested god on an earlier video, so you know I'm out here trying to help you guys out with what you need. I'm here to inform and just help you guys be the best gods in the battlefield that you can be. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well. And join the Shu crew, guys. We're a family here. I'm here to help you guys. You guys are here to help me. It's a good little cycle we got going right now. It's a good time, but that's pretty much it for me, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Talk to you later. Peace.